So then it became kind of important that we should know what is in this program. And this program is already in the schools, at 30 schools, whereby they are using this program. But from what she said, the suggestion is that in this program, young girls from, I think, 12 to 18 are taught that it's okay to experiment with each other. And this is something which needs to be known to all parents in Singapore. Are we going to have an entire generation of lesbians? I have nothing against lesbians or homosexuals personally. On the personal front, I even minister to them, I counsel them. So you need to understand, I'm not talking about people's pain. They are in pain. And very often it's due to fatherlessness. When you have abusive fathers, they do things to their daughters. They do things to their daughters, and the daughters rebel against society. You understand, this is what it's all about. It's the people, the pain of people, the woundedness of people. And all this, if not, it brings out a rage in them. So if you need proof that AWARE has actually moved to a different agenda, aside from spider lilies, you have this male sexual awareness workshop, which was conducted under the auspices of AWARE in 2008, sometime in January, by a Finnish activist. And he was talking about the sensitivity, how to talk to men about their sensitivity, sexual urges, and so on. Now, Finland has a law whereby, you need to know this, where the law is now discussing, should we have state-funded artificial insemination for women, singles and lesbians? So this is under discussion. I do not know whether they pass this into law. So these are issues when you say, are you for or not for homosexualism and lesbianism? The only question is, what are we talking about? Are we talking about same-sex marriage? Are we talking about government funding? Taxpayers' money is being used. Because if you argue about equality, you could say a man and a woman, they can go for VIF, or whatever you call it. So what about us? So I think this whole thing, we need to discuss it, bring it up openly, and discuss in maybe a different time. So I believe that AWARE should be brought back to its original focus, which was set up by my friends, that they will go back to look after the majority of all women of Singapore to advance their cause. All women. So my plea is that, can we refocus on the excellent objectives of AWARE? Go back to its original purpose for its being brought, for it to be an NGO. So I leave that because I think I'm just making some comments.
Thank you, Sylvia. We go to the third point, what this AWARE Exco aims to do.
Again, at my last interview, I said AWARE has lost its focus. But I think I was being very polite when I said that. It has really not lost its focus, but I think it's gone further than that, much, much further than that. It has now become a single objective organization. So that's what the new team is here to do. We want to bring AWARE back to its original, very noble objective, which is to represent all women to advance their cause. All women, whatever religion and race. Okay. In areas such as professional development, their private life, their health, and Singapore does have an aging population. We need to look at the ageism, all the problems. Look at women who has some slight diabetes. The minute they hit certain age, their insurance premium no longer make any sense for them. So we should be pushing those costs. And I think with almost 50% of our population in Singapore being women, We really have to refocus back on our bread and butter issue where everyday woman on the street cares about. So, I think we were really serious about getting started on our work, but we haven't been able to do so for the last 3 weeks. And I hope from this press conference, the new team can start to work seriously on how we could bring this association to a higher level of recognition amongst the Singaporean women.
Thank you, Josie. Right now, we will give 15 minutes to the media to ask more questions. We have answered some. And when you want to ask a question, please go to the mic and introduce yourself, your name, and the paper or the media that you're representing. Yes. Sumiko?
You in particular mentioned this lesbian bent of AWARE. Could you give us more evidence? Because I think Spider Lily was just one movie that AWARE had supported, and it has supported many, many movies over the years. Can you give us more evidence?
Amendments, constitutional amendments, it is proposed to give men the vote. It was also proposed to give expatriate women the vote. And what is very bizarre, they want to give teenagers the vote. But for teenagers to join AWARE, they have to get parental consent. We thought it's very odd. So, you are a women's organization. Normally, membership is divided between ordinary members with the right to vote and associate members who do not qualify but you wish to encourage. So there's this sudden shift to give men the vote. Why? Are the men masquerading? Is the homosexual activist men coming under the umbrella of AWARE? So if you look at some of their materials, the language now is always men and women, men and women.
Yes, because we're inclusive.
What do you mean by inclusive? Don't throw words at it. This is a women's organization. We should concentrate on the position of women. Of course, when we interact, let's say you organize a forum on discrimination of women in a place of work, you certainly would like to have men to participate. But you don't need to push that everything we do, it must be in the objectives. Now, if it's in the objectives, when it is lesbianism that you want to encourage, then you form your separate company, separate organization. And if the men want to push the homosexual agenda, they can form their own organization. But leave the women. 50% of the population of Singapore are women. And we are interested in advancing the cause of women in the political, economic, and social spheres. We have done reasonably well in the sphere of education and maybe public health, maybe. But there are other areas like politics and civil service where the women have not done that well, because in CEDAW, which is the Convention Against the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, which Singapore has signed, it says that all nations which have signed CEDAW should try to get to a level of 30% or 35% of women in public places. So this, to me, we want to inspire the girls to know that they can fulfill their potential. You know, I in my time, it's a long time ago, because of the meritocracy, I'm grateful for that in this nation. I've been able to rise to where I am. But even then, there were little bits of discrimination. When I passed the law school, I was the first batch of students, and the current Chief Justice,